I had to rewrite this a couple of times because I have very mixed feelings on the game. It's a love hate sort of thing with a strong emphasis on hate. But I keep playing. It's really a vicious cycle. For those completely unaware to what Smite is Hi-Rez's take on MOBAs, but unlike Dota or League, Smite is played from a third person view, while all other elements of the game remain MOBA-esque. I love the change from top down to behind the back camera, I really do. It was innovative. Now within that innovation lies a problem. MOBAs have always been one of the more frightening genres of games to jump into. Because let's be honest, the only other top-down games are RTSs and a few Diablo-esque games. And that is not the biggest market. So most gamers shy away from Dota and League. Smite has this more welcoming look to newbies of the genre in the whole, so needless to say, put two and two together, you have more than noobs coming in. You have people running in to just die, man mode, over and over, having no idea what is happening. But that only happens for your first couple of games, so it's okay, right?
Wrong.
For example, I am a max level account. I used to compete in tournaments. My elo was so high, I was constantly playing against pros. So you think my games would be okay, right?
Wrong.
The matchmaking in this game is random. It's not 50-50 matchmaking because of balance. It's 50-50 matchmaking because one team is just going to have less idiots. This is the reality for 65% of matches. Enough of my bitching about the matchmaking though, let's get down to the nitty gritty. First of all, Smite's characters are taken from mythology. Gods are what you will be playing. From Chinese to Norse, the diversity is quite large. Obviously, staple characters are there: Zeus, Hades, Thor, Anubis. The list goes on. Each god's appearance and abilities match their lore for the most part. There will obviously be some discrepancies when dealing in this sort of area, but Hi-Rez has this part of the game down. There are 84 gods in total as of now. It's not at the level of Dota or League, but they come out more consistently. Needless to say, with that amount you will see variance in team compositions and how games are played out. At the very least, you will find a few gods who fit your style. There are 5 roles that each of those gods can fall into: Warrior, Guardian,
Is she complaining or does she actually?
Hunter,
He's dead.
Assassin,
You have some skill. It's ready for
Slain an enemy.
That's our titan.
Mage.
None can stand before you.
The Warrior is a mixture of offense and defense. A melee-based god that can soak up some damage while also doing a hefty amount if left ignored. They can choose to invest a full defensive or full offensive build. This is probably the most versatile role. Next is the Guardian. They are the backbone of any team, bringing with them large amounts of crowd control and defensive capabilities. I generally call the Guardians the playmakers, as while they lack damage, they can usually hold down the entire enemy team long enough for the rest of yours to have an easy job of sweeping them up. Next, the Hunter. Hunters are another essential in teams. They fill the role of consistent ranged damage. Generally, the later the game gets, the stronger hunters will get. They are very easy to kill if they can be held down, but if they are allowed freedom, they can shred an entire team by themselves. Assassins do exactly what you would expect: a quick, deadly roll that can end a target's life before they even have time to react. Generally, assassins will be roaming around the map looking for people to pick off to make the coming teamfights easier. And during said teamfight, they will be attempting to take out high priority targets, such as the Hunter. They usually boast a skill set that allows quick movement and high burst at the cost of low health and lack of survivability. Last, but certainly not least, is the Mage. Mages are another versatile role, but not so much as the warriors, but they have a lot of options depending on how they choose to build. A generic way to explain them would be medium to high damage in large areas. Usually they will lack survivability or mobility, but the rewards and efforts of a well-played mage will not go unnoticed by your allies or your enemies. Another thing Smite brings to the table is multiple maps. The traditional 3-lane 5v5 map is obviously there. The game is balanced around that map. However, there are 5 other modes to play that are a bit more casual. There is also a rotating game mode that is usually something crazy, like starting with 1 million gold, or everyone has to be the same god. There is enough to choose from where everyone from novice to expert can get into the game. As I stated before, Smite strives to be different from the traditional MOBA, leaving the top-down perspective behind in favor of the third-person view. With this addition, auto attacks are no longer auto. Most everything is now a skill shot as it has to be aimed. Obviously, melees have an easier time with this due to range. This is probably one of the best things that came from the change in perspective because it puts more options into the player's hands. Being able to juke regular attacks forces the players to focus on aiming and really planning out their skill usage. This is debatable, but I would imagine this change makes higher level Smite play harder than higher level top-down play. I know that eventually landing those attacks becomes second nature with practice, but the ability to juke will always make it harder to land than something that is auto-aimed. Another thing Smite did that I liked a lot is the voice guided system, or VGS for short. Basically, when you hit V and a few other keys in quick succession, you will say a message such as enemy missing left, let's gank right lane, or my ult is ready. The list is actually quite large, but with times it becomes muscle memory. I personally have more trouble with the VGS system when I actually think about the key command rather than just press the buttons. This allows for quick communication for people who don't like voice chat or just don't want to type. I think this system is great, and when players use it, the match becomes much easier. It can be used to troll or insult people if you get creative, but if you really can't handle trash talking in a PvP only game, you can always mute anyone with a single click. Honestly, there is so much that could be talked about when reviewing MOBAs, and I did my best to give you the quick recap of Smite. However, being an online-only PvP game, I believe the only way to truly understand it is to play it yourself. I have a hard time giving it a score too, as each match is different. You can enjoy one and hate the next. It is how the genre of MOBAs goes. So with that being said, I have to do something weird here and give Smite a score of 3 through 8 out of 10. I have never experienced a perfect Smite match, but I have sat and wasted times on terrible ones, and those deserve low scores. But I also have, to a lesser extent maybe, had some amazing experiences with Smite, and those deserve a high rating. But Smite itself cannot be rated upon the experiences of my good or bad matches, hence the weird multi-score sort of thing. The most I can say is Smite is worth a shot. You will have fun or you will hate it. Very rarely is there an in-between. But it's an experience that any real gamer should have at least once. And it's even free to play, so you can take my word and give it a shot, or you could never touch it. Both are honestly good options. So I leave it up to you to make that decision. Thank you all for sitting through this, and thanks to everyone for the support of some of my older reviews. This one was weird because multiplayer games are always different. No two matches are the same. But I hope to keep improving my reviews and making them more informative and entertaining in the future, because there will be more.